The chamber of the Galactic Council was older than recorded human history. Its walls shimmered with crystalline veins that pulsed faintly, as though the stone itself remembered every debate, every treaty, every surrender sign within. 17 banners hung in a perfect circle above the dais, each representing a civilization older, grander, and more technologically advanced than Earth could claim. And yet, at the center of that circle, stood a single human. Director Sarah Chen adjusted her posture, her diplomat's robe a plain navy cloth compared to the jeweled garments of the counselors. Her eyes swept the room. She saw scaled faces, translucent tendrils, iron masks that hid expressions she had never learned to read. She felt their condescension pressing down on her like gravity. Director Chen intoned the speaker of the council, his voice amplified into a resonant hum. Your species' colonies in Sector 12 occupy restricted zones. By ancient decree, they must be vacated. You will comply within 48 standard hours. Silence fell like a blade. Sarah let the words hang in the air. She could almost feel the expectations, the bow, the apology, the retreat that every other young race had given. Instead, she inhaled slowly. Honored counselors, she said, voice steady. 15 million humans live on those worlds. They are not soldiers. They are families. Children. We will not abandon them. We will not surrender our homes. Gasps rippled through the chamber. The speaker leaned forward, incredulous. For the first time in centuries, Defiance had entered the council hall. The doors of the council chamber sealed shut behind her, and Sarah Chen let out the breath she'd been holding. The echo of her words, "We will not surrender our homes," still rang in her ears. In the secure chamber aboard the UNS Resolute, two figures awaited her: Admiral Marcus Webb, grizzled and broad-shouldered, his uniform marked by the weight of wars no alien could imagine, and Captain Elena Rivera, her posture as sharp as the blade at her side, eyes burning with the quiet fire of a soldier eager for battle. You just told 17 ancient powers to go to hell, Rivera said, half in awe, half in accusation. Sarah sank into her chair. I told them the truth. If we bend now, we'll be broken forever. Admiral Webb tapped a display. Holographic fleets shimmered into view, hundreds of council ships forming along the Kepler Junction. They'll test us, he said. They think we're still children playing at war. But they've forgotten what real war means. Rivera leaned forward. Then let's remind them. Webb's gaze shifted from soldier to diplomat. Director, the choice is yours. Do we prepare for negotiation, or do we prepare for demonstration? Sarah's pulse quickened. She saw the colonists in her mind's eye, fields of wheat on New Horizon, the laughter of children under twin suns. All that humanity had built stood on the edge of annihilation. Her jaw set. We prepare for both. If they want peace, they'll have it. If they want war. She let the silence finish the sentence. On the far edge of the Kepler Junction, the void shimmered with the arrival of the Council's armada. Ship after ship translated from slipspace, their hulls adorned with banners, gold filigree, and ancient symbols of conquest. Each vessel was a monument, more cathedral than weapon, designed to inspire awe rather than fear. To the Council, this was how wars were fought, in pageantry, intimidation, and inevitability. Admiral Velos of the Vexcar Confederacy stood aboard his flagship, tusked mouth curled in disdain. The humans will kneel, he declared. They always kneel. Applause echoed from the gathered dignitaries who had joined the armada, already anticipating the spectacle of submission. But on the other side of the junction, there was no ceremony. In orbit above New Horizon, the UNS Resolute floated in silence. Its sister ships moved like shadows, sleek gray hulls without ornament. Below, docking bays churned with activity, swarms of drones loaded kinetic rods into launch racks, AI cores synchronized combat models, and cyber warfare teams sealed themselves in dark rooms lit only by cascading code. Captain Rivera walked the firing deck, her voice clipped in cold. No salutes. No rituals. This isn't theater, it's survival. Admiral Webb stood at the observation port, hands clasped behind his back. He watched the Council fleet shimmering like a parade across the stars. He almost pitied them. Almost. They think this is a contest of honor, he murmured. They don't understand. For us, war was never about honor. He turned, his eyes hard. It was always about survival. The first shot was ceremonial. A Council dreadnought launched a barrage of plasma bolts, bright arcs that rippled through space like fireworks. It was a declaration, not an execution, an announcement that the Council had arrived. To them, this was tradition. To humanity, it was an opportunity. Launch, Captain Rivera ordered. The Resolute shuddered as it expelled a slender rod of tungsten alloy, no wider than a tree trunk, but accelerated to a fraction of lightspeed. Invisible to sensors until too late, the projectile struck the dreadnought. The ship bloomed in silence, a flower of molten metal scattering across the void. Gasps erupted across Council channels. Then the humans unleashed everything. Drone swarms surged forward like a storm of steel locusts, overwhelming point defense cannons. Cyber warfare teams hijacked targeting systems, forcing Council ships to turn their guns on one another. AI-driven strike craft darted between capital ships, each one armed with payloads designed for precision kills. The battle that the Council had expected to last weeks unraveled in hours. From the command dais of the Resolute, Admiral Webb watched the tactical hollow fill with red icons flickering into nothingness. 6 hours, he muttered. They'll have nothing left in 6 hours. On the Council flagship, Admiral Belos bellowed orders that went unanswered. His ornate fleet, built for intimidation, crumbled under the merciless math of human warfare. And above the chaos, Rivera's voice cut cold across every open channel. This is not annihilation. This is demonstration. Stand down. The galaxy had expected silence after Kepler Junction. Instead, every calm channel across hundreds of systems flickered at once. Civilian terminals, military command decks, even personal devices, all carried the same transmission. General Marcus Webb appeared, standing alone against a dark backdrop. His uniform was simple, his voice steady, his eyes unflinching. People of the Galactic Council, he began. We did not want this war. We asked only for respect and sovereignty. You answered with fleets, threats, and arrogance. Behind him, images unfolded like ghosts of history, trenches drowning in mud, firestorms over ancient cities, mushroom clouds rising from Earth's wars. For 10,000 years, humanity fought itself. We perfected war not because we wished to, but because survival demanded it. While you lived in peace, we studied conflict. Every mistake, every tragedy, every atrocity, we learned, and we remembered. The imagery shifted, Council formations at Kepler, burning ships breaking apart, drones swarming like angry stars. You call yourselves elder species, Webb continued. But you forgot what war truly is. You made it ritual, a dance of fleets and declarations. You believed we would yield because we are young. You were wrong. He leaned closer, his gaze like steel. We have defeated your fleets. We have disabled your defenses. We could have destroyed your worlds. We did not. Because we do not seek conquest. We seek peace, but as equals, not servants. The screen faded to black, replaced by a single line. Never threaten us again. The chamber of the Galactic Council, silent for 10,000 years of peace, now boiled with chaos. Voices of 17 species clashed like weapons, their languages struggling to overlap even through translation. High Speaker Velmutha's crystalline body pulsed dimly. We underestimated them. The Kepler disaster was no accident. Humanity planned every move. Planned, snarled Senator Vix of the Thorned Empire, his thorned crest flaring. They annihilated 200 ships in hours. What lesson is there in humiliation? Matriarch Celine of the Gen Collective projected her thoughts, calm yet heavy. Perhaps the lesson is not humiliation, but survival. The humans spared our crews. They want peace. Should we not? Peace? Executive Thane of the Vexcar thundered, glass-like tones sharp as blades. They threaten us with annihilation if we refuse. That is not peace, it is domination. The chamber erupted again, some calling for new fleets, others whispering of surrender. Old rivalries resurfaced, the Thorn demanded vengeance, the Thessians spoke of retreat, and the Orion Compact urged caution. They hack our ships, they cripple our systems, they infiltrate our defenses as if they are ghosts, a Thessian ambassador croaked. We cannot even see them before they strike. Tell me, how do we fight shadows? Velmuth dimmed further. We forgot war. They never did. For the first time in millennia, the Council did not see itself as invincible. Fear crept into every mind, a quiet, cold realization, humanity was not bluffing. And the galaxy had no defense against them. The galaxy awoke to silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of defenses gone dark. On Vexcar Prime, orbital cannons designed to repel fleets simply shut down. Shield generators hummed once, then collapsed. Bunkers found their blast doors sealed by substances no tool could cut. Hours later, every screen across the planet flickered with a simple message. If we wanted you dead, you would be. On Thorned Prime, the same occurred. Their planetary defense grid, a network that had stood for millennia, vanished in moments. Crews ran through corridors screaming for power, but nothing responded. Overhead, satellites showed only empty skies. The Gen Collective fared no better. 12 key systems across their cluster were stripped of military strength in a single night. No fleets appeared. No battles were fought. Instead, ghosts of human operatives slipped through security, leaving nothing but failure in warnings. The message was unmistakable, nowhere was safe. In the council chamber, ambassadors screamed accusations at each other. Some insisted humanity must have used forbidden technology. Others whispered that the humans had spies everywhere. A few, wiser than the rest, trembled at the truth. It was not technology alone. It was will, preparation, and ruthless precision. By dawn on the third day, half the Council's most fortified worlds had been exposed as defenseless shells. And humanity had not fired a single shot at civilians. It was not conquest. It was instruction. A lesson in vulnerability. A warning carved in silence. Every screen, every projector, every comlink in Council space activated at once. The face of General Marcus Webb appeared, stern and unflinching, his presence filling homes, markets, war rooms, and council chambers alike. People of the Galactic Council, he began, his voice steady. Humanity never sought this war. We asked for equality, for respect, for sovereignty. You answered with fleets and threats. Behind him, holographic images unfolded, the Battle of Kepler Junction, Council dreadnoughts shattering under kinetic fire, crews abandoning burning ships. Then, the images changed Earth's history. Battlefields of mud and blood, cities reduced to rubble, mushroom clouds clawing at the sky. For 10,000 years, humanity fought itself. We learned every way that intelligent beings can destroy one another. We mastered strategy, deception, adaptation. Not because we wanted to, because we had no choice. Survival demanded it. The imagery shifted again, council fleets in ceremonial formations, protocols and rituals etched in light. You, Webb said, his tone sharper now, forgot what war really is. You turned it into ceremony, into spectacle. You believed technology made you strong. It does not. Strength comes from will. From the discipline to strike fast, to strike decisively, and to end conflict swiftly. He leaned closer, eyes burning into the lens. We have defeated your fleets. We disabled your defenses. We could have destroyed your worlds. We did not. Because we do not want your destruction. We want peace, but peace as equals, not servants. The broadcast ended with one stark sentence. Never threaten humanity again. The Council called them the eternal dreadnoughts, colossal warships built in an age when empires still rose and fell in fire. Each was the size of a small moon, plated in alloys no younger race could forge, armed with weapons meant to erase civilizations. For centuries they had been kept in orbit as symbols, silent guardians of Council supremacy. Now, one by one, they were awakened. On the surface of Vexcar Prime, crowds gathered to watch the sky burn with engines older than their species. To the Council, this was reassurance. No force could withstand a dreadnought's fury. Humanity would finally kneel. From the UNS Resolute, Admiral Webb studied the incoming signatures with grim calm. So, he muttered, they've chosen to play their last card. Captain Rivera folded her arms, eyes locked on the tactical feed. Then it's time we show them ours. At her command, human fleets scattered into formation. They did not match the dreadnoughts with ships of equal size. Humanity had none. Instead, they deployed something smaller, leaner, and infinitely deadlier, the Erebus kinetic platforms. Massive arrays unfolded in orbit, loading projectiles designed not to blast, but to penetrate. Each tungsten spear, accelerated to relativistic speed, carried the force of a meteor strike. The first dreadnought roared to life, charging its ancient beam cannon. Before it fired, an Erebus round struck. The ship split open like fruit beneath an axe, spilling molten fire into the void. On Vexcar Prime, the crowd screamed, not in triumph, but in terror. The Council's greatest weapons had just become relics. The ship was called Gentle Wind, a civilian liner ferrying families from New Horizon to Titan's Gate. Aboard were farmers, merchants, children carrying schoolbooks and pets in cages. To them, war was something distant, an argument among rulers. They never saw the Vexcar ambush coming. Admiral Thane, humiliated by the fall of his dreadnoughts, had sworn revenge. To him, humanity's restraint was weakness. His fleet did not strike soldiers. It struck the helpless. The first salvo tore through Gentle Wind's shields as though they were paper. Hull plates peeled away, venting passengers into the void. Dozens of escape pods launched, but Thane's cruisers hunted them like prey. Each pod that flared in the darkness carried screams no one would ever hear. By the time a distress call reached human space, the liner was gone. 1,700 lives erased. When the transmission was played in the UNS Resolute's war room, silence reigned. Captain Rivera's fists clenched so tight her knuckles split. Admiral Webb closed his eyes, a shadow passing over his weathered face. Sarah Chen, usually calm, trembled with fury. They murdered children, she whispered. Rivera's voice cracked like steel. Then no more warnings. No more demonstrations. It's time they learn what it means to cross us. For the first time, even Webb did not argue. He only nodded. Operation Clean Slate was approved within the hour. And for the Vexkar, the age of mercy was over. The Vexkar military called themselves unbreakable. Their fleets numbered in the thousands, their fortresses covered continents, their orbital platforms bristled with cannons. To them, war was permanence. In less than 72 hours, it was all gone. Human fleets entered Vexkar Prime's orbit not with ceremony, but with silence. The first strike came from orbit Erebus platforms raining tungsten rods that punched through military installations with surgical precision. Armories collapsed into fire, war factories split apart, fleet yards shattered like glass. But the cities remained untouched. Not a single civilian quarter was targeted. On the ground, Vexkar soldiers braced for invasion. Instead, their weapons refused to fire. Code written by human cyber warfare teams spread like plague, locking down rifles, tanks, even atmospheric fighters. Command networks went dark. In orbit, Vexkar warships engaged. Within minutes, their targeting systems blinked out, their engines froze, and their hulls cracked under kinetic impacts. Crews abandoned ship, their vessels reduced to drifting carcasses. From the command dais of the Resolute, Admiral Webb's voice carried across Vexkar calms. Your military is gone. Your fleets are gone. But your people live. This is mercy. This is restraint. Do not mistake it for weakness. On Vexkar Prime, civilians poured into the streets as the fires of their army lit the skies. Some wept. Some cursed. But all understood, the age of Vexkar dominance had ended in a single night. The humans had rewritten the rules of war. Forever. They found him on the bridge of a shattered cruiser, surrounded by loyalists who refused to surrender. Human marines boarded in silence, armored shadows moving with lethal precision. The firefight lasted less than 5 minutes. When it was over, Admiral Thane was dragged from the wreckage, his tusked mouth still spitting defiance. You think capturing me will save you, he roared. You are children. We are eternal. The reply was the cold click of restraints. Days later, the galaxy watched as his trial began. Broadcast on every channel, streamed into every home, the proceedings were held aboard a neutral station orbiting a dead star. No council tribunal, this was humanity's court. Transparent, unflinching, public. The charges were read aloud. Mass murder of civilians. Deliberate targeting of children. Violation of interstellar law and codes of war. Evidence filled the chamber, recordings from Gentle Wind, survivor testimonies, intercepted orders signed by Thane himself. The galaxy could not look away. Thane defended himself with fury. War is conquest. The weak perish, the strong endure. That is our law. Sarah Chen, standing as arbiter, faced him with steel in her voice. Perhaps once. But that era is over. War is not slaughter. War is not ritual. War must have rules, or it devours us all. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty. For the first time in council history, a warlord stood condemned not by victors, but by justice itself. And the galaxy trembled at the precedent. The summit was held aboard Erevos Station, a fortress of black steel orbiting a dead star at the edge of known space. No banners flew, no anthems played. The galaxy had lost the right to ceremony. One by one, the council's surviving leaders arrived ashen-faced, their fleets broken, their pride smothered by fear. High Speaker Velmuth shimmered dimly, his crystalline body flickering with shame. Matriarch Celine of the Gen Collective projected thoughts of caution, her voice urging compromise. Even the Thorned Empire, once loud with arrogance, entered in silence. Saracen stood at the center table, flanked by Admiral Webb and Captain Rivera. She wore no crown, no medal. only the plain navy cloth she had worn when this all began. "The galaxy is at a crossroads," Sarah began, her voice carrying through the hall. "We can continue in arrogance, and condemn ourselves to endless bloodshed. Or we can build something new: rules, principles, a framework to prevent what happened here from happening again." Murmurs rippled. Some bristled at the idea of humans dictating terms. Others, remembering the fall of their fleets, listened in silence. Webb laid down the terms. No species may deploy fleets against another without council arbitration. Civilian populations are never to be targeted. Technology of war is to be shared only with oversight. A new institution, open to all species, will be formed, the Galactic War College, where strategy and restraint would be taught. It was not domination. It was structure. And for the first time, the Council considered peace as equals, not overlords. The first session of the Galactic War College opened on a gray morning beneath the domes of New Horizon. The campus was not a fortress but a place of learning: glass halls, stone courtyards, and training fields humming with energy. Humanity had chosen not to build it in orbit, but on a colony world, among civilians, to remind all who attended what war was meant to protect. Delegations from 17 species arrived, their uniforms clashing in color and design. Some wore ceremonial robes, others plated armor. Yet when they entered the lecture halls, all were stripped of rank and title. Here, they were students. General Marcus Webb delivered the opening lecture. He stood before a wall of ancient images, Earth's history painted in fire and loss. "War," he said, voice heavy with command, "is the failure of diplomacy. But when it comes, it must be swift, decisive, and bound by rules. Without restraint, war becomes slaughter. Without discipline, it becomes chaos." On the screens behind him, 5 principles appeared, etched in bold letters. Protect civilians. End conflict swiftly. Strike only what must be struck. Show mercy when possible. Never forget why war exists: survival, not pride. The chamber was silent. Even those who despised humanity's dominance could not ignore the weight of these laws. For the first time in millennia, war itself was being taught not as ritual, not as spectacle, but as science, philosophy, and necessity. The galaxy was learning humanity's language. And it would never forget. The chamber was quiet as Sarah Chen stepped forward. Around her sat the representatives of 17 species, their banners lowered, their pride tempered. Beyond them, across 1,000 systems, billions watched through holofeeds. She wore no regalia, only the same navy robe she had worn the day she defied the Council. Her voice was calm, steady, but it carried the weight of everything that had been lost and everything yet to come. "Months ago," she began, "you told humanity to kneel. You threatened our homes, our children, our future. We refused. And in refusing, we taught you what war truly means." She paused, letting the silence stretch. Images of Kepler Junction, of shattered fleets, of cities spared by human restraint, hung in the air like ghosts. But let this be clear: we do not celebrate victory. War is never triumph, it is tragedy. Even when won. She turned, sweeping her gaze across the chamber. "We have given you the 5 laws of war. They are not chains, but shields. Follow them, and conflict will end before it consumes us all." Sarah's tone softened. "We seek no empire. We seek no thrones. We seek only what every species deserves: the right to live free, and in peace. To build, not destroy." She leaned forward, her words final, her eyes unflinching. "We will build bridges whenever possible. But know this." A hush fell over the galaxy as she finished. "We will burn them when we must." The chamber erupted, not in dissent, but in solemn, fearful applause. The age of humanity had begun.